Ladies and gentlemen, we are live!
I'm Jerry.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Tom.
It's time!
Live from the CSB studios in Westbury, New York.
It's the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
Featuring co-host Kevin Dolan and the host that's been here since day one, Jerry Napoleonello.
On Zeno Radio and
on All Noise Radio.
What's up? Thanks for choosing to spend your afternoon with us. Tom and Jerry Sports Show. You're live with Jerry Knapp and Kevin Donlin on Zeno Radio, All Noise Radio, and the Live 365 app. This is a special day for us. We got a whole bunch to get to, but first, happy birthday.
Thanks, man. Happy birthday to you, too.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it being both of our birthdays today. Yeah. We want to start it up with a little 60-second summary. This NFL season has been the season of the injured quarterbacks, as Jay Cutler, Tony Romo, Drew Brees are all on the shelf. We had another big-name quarterback to that. Big Ben Roethlisberger was hit low in the third quarter by Rams safety Mark Barron. Diagnosis of the injury is an MCL sprain. He'll likely be out 4 to 6 weeks. Michael Vick will then step in for them for the time being. Mike Tomlin on the Vick in the offense.
We're going to work in his comfort zone to bring the game to him, to allow him to put us in the best position to win the football game.
Monday Night Football, Chiefs and Packers. Packers win 38-28 behind stellar play by Aaron Rodgers as he passes for 5 touchdowns. Mets clinch the NL East in their first postseason berth since 2006. On Saturday, the Yankees had a chance to clinch a playoff berth last night, but came up short to Boston 5-1. Nationals dugout turned into a scene you would see in the UFC octagon on Sunday after Bryce Harper didn't run out of pop-up. Jonathan Papelbon had a few words that turned into a big scuffle. Nationals suspended Papelbon for 4 games. Papelbon said he was in the wrong, and this is Bryce Harper on that.
Yeah, I mean, he apologized, so, whatever. I really don't care. I mean, it's the next 6 days, and, keep doing what I'm doing. It's like brothers fighting.
And I'm Kevin Dolan. That was your Tom and Jerry Sports Show 60-second summary.
Did you see that little scuffle that they had?
Yeah, that was you could just tell that's a lot of frustration coming from the Nationals. This has been a very disappointing season for them. Obviously, they're not going to be in the playoff picture come October. So I mean, they
really blew it.
They really did. I mean, you spent a lot of money on this team. I bet you they've gotten a lot of hassle from their GM. I think Matt Williams is on his way out the door.
Absolutely.
Especially with this incident, this is the icing on the cake for him. It's official. Washington really was probably the biggest disappointment in baseball this year.
To be honest with you, I do side with Jonathan Papelbon. Bryce Harper has, he kind of feels like he's on top of the game a lot, and that was just a veteran telling him to come back down to earth and run out a pop up. You never know what happens. We've seen it so many times where a pop up is dropped and a guy doesn't run and he still gets out at first base. So for Bryce Harper, you want him to really run that out. And I read an article where the guy that wrote the article interviewed a few active and non-active players, and they all sided with Papelbon. So, that shows.
Yeah, it's the veteran presence. I mean, Bryce Harper's still a young kid in this league. He has a lot to learn. I mean, he had a great season this year, and I think, obviously, that's gotten to his head just a slight bit. But, when it comes to this, I'm not going to pick a side here. Either way, you could tell that the frustration's building in the Washington Nationals, dugout right now, and just in the whole organization as a whole. They're very frustrated all the way from the top level to the very bottom. They're clearly the biggest disappointment in sports. I would have to say, probably all of sports right now. That was a disgrace. They spent a lot of money on their pitching, a lot of money on hitting in the past couple of seasons. It's really been a big disgrace, but moving on, we're going to go on to football now.
Yeah, we have football on Sunday. Yeah, Week 3.
Yeah, this is football. This is football time.
Yeah.
Middle of September, towards the end of September now.
Well, we went over a couple of games last week that, we wanted to preview, and now we're going to recap. Giants and the Redskins, Thursday night football. Giants finally get their first win this game 32-21 over Washington. Washington kind of showed that they're not really that great of a team. Coming from, last week when you said that they had the best defense out there,
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I thought I thought the defensive side of the ball for them was actually very good. People underestimate how good the New York Giants offense is. The Giants have borderline one of the best offenses in football, to be honest. I mean, aside from their offensive line being a little bit of a struggle for them right now, they're losing guys left and right. But Eli Manning's one of the best. I mean, he really has a very he's a good release, very quick release. He's able to be effective. Obviously you got, receivers. He makes receivers. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
No,
right? I mean, Odell Beckham Jr. is a great player, but, Victor Cruz, Ruben Randall. I mean, these guys, listen, and even Preston Parker had to blame because these balls were put where they were supposed to be, and Preston Parker couldn't hold on to it. And obviously he got dropped because of it. Eli Manning is a very good quarterback, and the Giants deserve that win 100%. What I take from this game, though, when I see it on Thursday night, that was really bothering to me. If you're a Giant fan out there and you're seeing high hopes for your team right now, Washington did not run the ball effectively that entire game. And that was something that they were well expected to do in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, after running all over the St. Louis Rams, and the St. Louis Rams arguably having one of the best defensive lines in football, they didn't run the ball effectively. But what I took from this game was that despite the fact that Washington couldn't run the ball too well, they barely still got any pressure on Kirk Cousins. Now that is an alarming problem. Because,
the Giants secondary played well in this game.
I mean, be honest, even their secondary was a little questionable at times.
I mean, they had the pick. Prince Amukamara.
That was a very good play by Amukamara. I'll give him credit for that. Without a doubt, that was a very good play. Read the quarterback.
What I take from this game is both teams are not that good.
Kirk Cousins had no pressure even on that play with Prince Amukamara, but felt the need to get rid of it and get it down the seam right away. I mean, I don't understand why this guy got rid of it. I don't understand why he left the pocket at times. I mean, you had a pocket to throw from, and you're running away from the pocket. You have to realize as an offensive lineman in this league, it's much more, more difficult to, block for somebody that's going to move out of the pocket because you have no way of predicting that. Okay, there's nothing written up by that. I mean, this guy had clean pockets all day. He didn't see too much pressure at all throughout that entire game, and that's an alarming problem for the New York Giants because this team didn't run the ball effectively at all. So you didn't expect them, to run the ball on 3rd and 9, yet Kirk Cousins had a clean pocket. So, I mean, even, when you look at the interception, I mean, there was a clean pocket there. There was no rush to get rid of the ball. Okay, he decided to get it down the seam right away. Bad read of the defense, and Prince Amukamara is going to make you pay for it.
Absolutely,
great play, and the Giants definitely well deserved this win. For the Giant fans, this is definitely something to build off of. Moving on to next week, take the win, move on. It's a nice, it's a home win. And they played a great game. I'll give them all the credit in the world. But right now, there's some problems with that defense that they're going to have to clean up. The offensive line's going to have to play a little bit better, and the Giants will find themselves right back to where they've been in the last couple of seasons. Not these past couple of seasons, but in the early.
I just don't see either one of these teams being very good this year.
I don't see the NFC East being good. In a whole. I mean, now even with all the injuries to the Cowboys, what team in this NFC East is really pulling away? Because I'll be honest, even as a Jet fan, that Eagle-Jet game, I mean, Eagles did not look really that great at all. The Jets basically were handing them that game on a silver platter. As Brandon Marshall basically handed the ball right to them.
Next game, Bills and Dolphins. There really wasn't a game in this, and Miami is just showing everybody that everybody was wrong in the offseason. This team is not good at all.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I wasn't wrong. I mean, I didn't see what the hype was on the Dolphins. I mean, Ndamukong Suh is a very good presence, but you know what?
That's all they got.
It wasn't just him on that defensive line, and you know what? The Detroit Lions. Okay, they had one of the best defenses in football last year, second to only the Seattle Seahawks. I bet you a lot of people probably didn't even know that. They were a very good defense last year, the Detroit Lions. And, you could put a lot of the credit towards Ndamukong Suh, but at the same time, this team had a very good defensive line. It wasn't just him on it. You had Nick Fairley on there. I mean, they have some of the best linebackers in football, coverage linebackers and run stuffers. So, you can't just credit Ndamukong Suh for the successful defense of the Detroit Lions. They thought bringing him over to Miami would, make Miami's, defense be, one of the biggest threats, but they're down one of their biggest cornerbacks already. I mean, this is a team that's got holes. And the Buffalo Bills, they don't have those holes on defense right now.
No, not at all.
They're playing really, really good defense. Tannehill's, people were very happy about this guy. They saw bright things coming out of him, but this is the same quarterback I've seen for the past 2 years for the Miami Dolphins. This guy is not that effective. Okay, the receiving core that they have right there. I mean, Jarvis Landry is really, he's starting to prove me wrong. I was having a hard time expecting him to be a number one receiver in the NFL. He's definitely well earned that role. I seen him make a drop or two the other day, but he really is a very good player. He gets open a lot. He's a very good player.
But you got to give it to the Bills offense as well. I mean, Tyrod Taylor is really, is the reason why the Bills traded Matt Castle to the Cowboys, because there's no, you don't feel like you have to change a quarterback there now. Buffalo, I mean, Tyrod Taylor, 21 of 29, 277 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions on a supposed very good defense in Miami that obviously you don't see that now.
They get no pressure. They have no linebackers that can rush.
And you know what?
None.
With Ndamukong Suh and then, Cameron Wake, everybody thought, this might be.
Cameron Wake's been nowhere to be found.
He really hasn't.
I mean, you can tell that maybe his age is starting to hit him a little bit. I mean, Cameron Wake has really been ineffective for the Miami Dolphins, but it's really, you can't put the finger on one player. This team as a whole has been a very big disappointment.
One guy that you take from this game that you may want to add to your fantasy team, Carlos Williams.
Yeah, well,
12 attempts, 110 yards, and a touchdown. Very good game. But
even Tyrod Taylor, man, the way he's been playing, I mean, the defenses that
he's available on a lot of leagues, So, I would maybe take a look, especially for you Ben Roethlisberger owners.
Tyrod Taylor is probably the number one pickup for Ben Roethlisberger owners right now. He's really been really, really great. I'm not going to say he went out there and played some of the best defenses at football yet, but listen, this guy is not playing. This guy's playing very good football, right? He's not making mistakes. They're doing a great job. The Bills are winning games, and he's being super effective in the process.
And the one loss that they do have, I mean, you kind of give it to them because the way that, the Patriots are playing right now, I mean, it's not even fair. But moving on to the other AFC East team, Jets and Eagles. A lot of people have been saying that this game was a trap game for the Jets before this game, and I kind of believed it too. And it ended up turning out to be that the Eagles didn't play well in this game, but the Jets played worse.
Well, the Jets basically handed it to them, literally.
Brandon Marshall, I really don't know what he was thinking, because you know what? It's not in the fourth quarter. There's not, the time is not going down. This was in the second quarter. This happened in the second quarter.
Yeah, that was.
What in your right mind, what are you thinking about?
It really was a disgrace. I mean, honestly, it's the second quarter. You're not gonna get all. You're not gonna get all.
17. I think it was 17-0.
It was. You're not gonna get all 17 points back if you make a play like that right now.
And it was a big play too. Yeah. It was a good 25-yard pass and catch.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you're not, like you're saying, you're not going to bring back all 17 points on one play.
Exactly. I mean, it's the second quarter. There was a lot of football to come.
And the second half, the Eagles' offense was nowhere to be found.
Well, the Jets' defense finally woke up. That was another thing. I mean, the Jets, listen, you gave up a punt return for a touchdown, okay?
A very good one, too.
Darren Sproles, a very good, very active player, very great player. You had to expect that guy to do something. He's a very, talented player. But, the Jets, you got to realize that you gave up a punt return for a touchdown, okay? You gave up, an early touchdown, to the offense, okay. It's 14-0. Now it's 17-0. Okay. Now, there was a time, during that game that basically, you go ahead and, you had a field goal opportunity chance. Ryan Fitzpatrick goes for the home run, gets the interception. Nothing you could do about that, okay? Yeah. Would have made a big impact if you were able to get the field goal late, but that's beside the point. But the point is the Jets, they had a chance to win this game, okay? And, listen, stupid penalties, okay? Big throwdowns, you can't get unnecessary roughness penalties. You can't get hands to the face out, in crucial moments like that. You have to keep your head straight. And Marshall, you really got to hold on to the ball. I mean, this is a situation where it's the second quarter. It's very early on. You're not going to get all 17 back on one drive. Even though, I'll be honest, I thought the Jets played a very decent game. They played terribly in the first half. Obviously capped off by the Marshall performance in that one particular play. But the Jets had every right to go ahead and win this game. This is not a very good Eagles team. A very disappointing loss for the New York Jets.
We got fantasy expert Erik Groset. Stay tuned in for that. We'll get into the rest of the games next.
Do you have sports opinions? Or do you want to start your own sports debate? Then Overtime is right for you. Overtime is an app for sports lovers made by sports lovers. This is the best place to talk about sports. Overtime is available at the iTunes App Store. Be a part of something big and help us take the game to OT. Overtime. The game never ends. Follow the NFL this season on the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
Tom and Jerry Sports Show featuring Kevin Donlin live every Tuesday on Zeno Radio and re-airs Wednesdays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern on All Noise Radio and the Live 365 app.
Follow us on Instagram at Tom and Jerry Sports Show and join the conversation on Twitter at TNJ Sports or visit our website at tnjsports.weebly.com or call in to 605-562-7085. Press 5 to be heard live.
We're back. You are speaking with Jerry and Kevin. We're taking calls at 605-562-7085. Press 5 to be heard live. And remember to join the conversation on Twitter at TNJ Sports or at our website at tnjsports.weebly.com. We're going to continue with these games. And one game that, I can't believe both these teams, this went back and forth, Cowboys and Falcons.
Yeah, you know what? The Cowboys...
They ran the ball so effectively behind
they
that
really
offensive
did
line.
In the first half. Second half, Quinn, had his team come out, made the adjustments that they needed. They stopped the run in the second half, and the Cowboys couldn't do anything. And I said this right from the start. That's not a game that I wanted to get into a slugfest with. It's not something that I want the Cowboys to do for the rest of the season, or well, at least until Tony Romo gets back, is to get into these shootouts. It can't happen because Brandon Whedon's not going to do that.
Well, early on, they were playing the style of play you wanted to win that game.
Run the ball
effectively.
Yeah.
They ran the ball really effectively. They made it very, very difficult for the Atlanta Falcons. And I'll be honest, that's an impressive Atlanta Falcon front to run the ball that effectively. And it just shows the kind of talent that the Dallas Cowboys have on their offensive line. When it came to, obviously, Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, there's nobody in the secondary on a lot of teams that are going to stop Julio Jones. Like, literally, a lot of teams.
Yeah.
And maybe there might not be a single player that can stop Julio Jones right now. He's an incredible, incredible talent. Personally, I think he's the best, receiver in football right now. Yeah. I mean, health-wise, everything. This guy is one of the best. He is really performing like so. And it made it very difficult for the Cowboys. Because the Cowboys played the style of game they wanted in the first half of that game.
Yeah, and you know what? Their defense was playing all right. I mean, I think they gave up, 2 catches to Julio Jones in the first half. And then gave up, I think, 12 in the second, So
he had his way in the second half. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons were having their way in the second half, which was very, very,
so
you could tell the change in pace.
Yeah,
over the first half and second half.
I give it to the Falcons. They made their adjustments that they needed. And you know what? Predominantly, they came out with a win.
As a Cowboy fan, you should be excited though the way you were able to run the football. Though,
no, absolutely. I mean,
listen, you have a lot of injuries right now on the Dallas Cowboys team.
A lot.
And people talk about the Tony Romos and the Des Bryants, but what to really focus on is that really Brandon Whedon can run this offense as a fine offense, an offense that will be good enough to go ahead and win games. I mean, they put up a lot of points in this game. It's the defensive side of injuries that are really killing them right now. Yeah. You got no pass rusher. I mean, what could you have done? Nobody could have hit Matt Ryan.
That was the thing. You have one of your starters in Mincy go down last week with a concussion. So he wasn't in this game. So you basically have a defensive tackle playing at defensive end. It's kind of hard for the Cowboys to get any type of pass rush at least.
For any kind of health.
Yeah,
to begin with. I mean, right now the defensive side injuries are really what's the killer for the Cowboys right now. They got to get these guys back in.
This week's game against the Saints is a huge game for the Cowboys. If they can come out with a win.
Is that Monday night or Sunday night?
That's a Sunday night game.
Okay. There's also a Sunday morning game too.
Yeah, I know, with the Jets and the Dolphins in London.
9:30 in the morning. Good Lord.
But like the Cowboys, I mean, basically, they struggled in the second half big time. But I have one question: how long do you think Brandon Whedon's going to be the quarterback for them?
I mean, really, it comes
with the trade for Matt Castle.
Well, it comes down to the fact that it's a whole week of practice. A lot
absolutely.
of evaluating to be done right now for the Dallas Cowboys.
He made one bad throw for that pick.
But I mean, in the beginning of that game, he was very, very consistent. He was playing very well. I mean, I didn't see a single doubt about it that they were having a great game right there. And the first half, it really just made a complete 360. I mean, like you said, you can't put Brandon Weeden in a situation where he's going to be throwing it with Matt Ryan. And obviously,
with anybody, really. I mean, I just don't want him, to have to throw the ball. I mean, I want to have.
I mean, who's he throwing it to too right now?
Exactly, and that's the thing. I mean, for him, it's it's comfortable because, like the last 2 years, Tony Romo's been, not practicing on Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
So Brandon Weeden does get, number one, plays and stuff like that. But, like I said, if we can get a win against the Saints this week, go into the New England game 3-1.
That's going to be a tough one.
Yeah. I don't even really want to watch that game. But, if we could go into that game 3-1.
And when did the Jets play the Cowboys?
Then you get...
After these guys all come back?
Yeah. Then you get Randy Gregory. Then you get Greg Hardy. Then you get Rolando McClain back. So right there, I mean, you're getting so much back on that defensive side of the ball for the Cowboys that, maybe until Romo and Dez get back, maybe this defense can carry the team. And if we can run the ball with the defense the way that that they could play, bringing these guys back, I'd feel a lot more comfortable with the Cowboys. But I mean, we lose this game. It was. You really can't.
It's a disappointing loss.
It really was.
I said it was disappointing for the Jets. It's disappointing for the Cowboys. I mean, just a bad week for our teams.
Yeah, basically.
Very bad week. We go on to the scores for the rest of the game. Cincinnati defeated the Baltimore Ravens 28-24, which was one hell of a fourth quarter.
Yeah, it really was.
That was crazy. Back and forth the whole way. A.J. Green with a couple of big catches late, and they were able to, pull away. Great job for the Cincinnati Bengals. A good win on the road against the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore, I mean... I don't know, man. It looks like it's heading down south for this team. They might finish last in this division.
0-3, man. I thought they were going to be better than this.
Their offense can't be any better. I mean, you got a couple of great catches out of Steve Smith, and they still couldn't do anything.
He's a freak on his own.
Yeah, he's very good.
I mean, this guy. How old is he now? He's got to be 38, something like that.
He's up there, man. And he just defies logic, to be honest. It's unbelievable.
Really.
Moving on, Carolina defeated the New Orleans Saints 27-22, which was a little bit of a shocker. Luke McCown played a great game.
Yeah, he did.
He was very effective, very consistent for the New Orleans Saints. They were definitely in contention in this game for the most part. Cam Newton obviously being too much later on in this game.
Is Kuechly back?
He's going to probably be back this week.
Oh, so he wasn't.
And they just added Jared Allen. They're making moves.
Yeah, and the Bears are making the moves to get rid of him.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting rid of their whole defense right now because they're not really too effective at all.
When we get to that game, we'll talk about that. But I think getting Jared Allen, for let me tell you, that was a steal.
Without a doubt.
A sixth round pick. You trade for an all-star.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe not as much anymore, but I mean, still.
Paid this guy $11 million to play 3 games for you. I mean, the Bears, I don't know what's going on right now. Their management has just been god-awful.
I'll take Alshon Jeffrey if they can get rid of him.
Yeah, right.
I
mean, I think so with Carolina at this point.
Really.
But moving on, we go into the Oakland Raiders with an impressive win over the Cleveland Browns on the road. Oakland winning 27-20, and the Oakland's got these 3 young stars that are coming out for their offense.
What is with Cleveland? Why, you have Johnny Manziel come out, play a great game, win the game, and then the next game you sit him again?
I mean, looked terrible, and the Cleveland fans let him know.
Made it known.
They were chanting Johnny the whole time. So, Cleveland right now, one of the biggest disappointments. I really think they're going to actually not even finish last. I think Baltimore is heading right there because, I mean, right now, when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens, their defense doesn't look good at all. Everyone's throwing on them, okay? I mean, you got to remember, Oakland put up like 30-plus points against them last week, too. I mean, and Cincinnati had no problem in the fourth quarter every time they were trailing to go ahead and do whatever they wanted to passing the ball. And Andy Dalton looked like basically Peyton Manning from 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So, obviously Cleveland and Baltimore are going to be in a tight race to see who finishes last. I think it's going to be Baltimore going in the last. Cleveland obviously third, and I think you're going to see Pitt and Cincinnati finishing in the top 2. Probably both making the playoffs.
Houston and Tampa Bay. This game was a
ugly one.
Yawner.
Yeah, it was an ugly one, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
This is not something that you wanted to attend in Houston, Texas right now.
Yeah, at all.
Houston winning 19-9. Tampa Bay, I don't know what kind of team you're going to see every week from this team. You're either going to see the team that took on I'll be honest, even against the New Orleans Saints, they could have moved the ball out effectively. Jameis Winston having a very hard time in the beginning of his career. Obviously, every rookie's the same way. I'm still against the whole idea of putting a rookie out there right away. You got to remember, this is an NFL playbook. It takes a long time to learn an NFL playbook.
But the thing
for the quarterback position above all.
It's not even the playbook. It's just a total different monster. I mean, you're going from college that you're playing,
But you're going from one system to the next. And you got to realize what you're trying to accomplish.
It's just
really
so much faster in the NFL. But Minnesota absolutely just runs all over San Diego. Adrian Peterson did that himself. He's back.
31-14, Minnesota with the big win, and Adrian Peterson is back and better than ever. Minnesota, as a full team right now, one of the best teams in the league right now.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I'll be honest. They're going to give Green Bay the biggest fight.
If Teddy Bridgewater, will play as well as I think he's going to play. They got a solid team.
You know what it is? He's got to be a good
smart quarterback.
Basically, yeah. Don't turn the ball over. You have a great offense. The defense for the Minnesota Vikings has been the biggest impressive part about this team right now. They really know how to go out there and get it done.
We don't really even have to talk much about this game because there wasn't a game. New England.
Well, I was wrong with my prediction. I said Jacksonville to go ahead and win this game.
Yeah, New England 51-17. It wasn't even close at all.
Went the entire game without punting. That's all I'm going to say. That's really impressive. New England
9 possessions, scored on all 9 possessions.
Crazy, very very impressive win. Pittsburgh takes on the St. Louis Rams in St. Louis, able to get a 12-6 win. Big win despite losing Ben Roethlisberger. It's going to be very difficult for Pittsburgh to stay with the Cincinnati Bengals in that division. Indianapolis Colts defeat the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee 35-33, and which looks like the Indianapolis Colts aren't going to be the same team. They might not win this division.
Luck is just a turnover machine, but we've known that though.
Well, because of the offensive line, the guy is trying to force throws. Tom Brady doesn't force the throws. You're forcing them. That's the problem.
It's not even this year though. If you look at his stats for each of his first couple of years in the league, he's still a turnover machine no matter what.
Well, go look at his stats for his offensive lines in those years, too. He has not had a great offensive line yet.
But he does make bonehead, throws. I mean, there was one play, that one pick that he threw, I mean, there was 4 defenders to one guy, one of his
He's trying to force plays. He's trying to force to make plays for his team right now. Obviously, he's not doing a great job. That offensive line is terrible, so I don't know what to tell him.
This game, I basically said was going to be a blowout. And
Arizona looks like the best football team in the league, 47-7 over the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, Buffalo destroying Miami. Seattle winning 26-0. I didn't predict that Seattle wasn't going to give up any points to the. I'm just kidding. I'll be honest. This was a no doubt 26-0 win. Seattle's defense back to normal. Cam Chancellor back better than ever. Chicago Bears offense back to normal.
Denver over Detroit 24-12. Denver's 3-0, but you wouldn't think that. I mean, the way that everybody's
they really are going to lose to the Minnesota Vikings next week, no doubt. I'll be honest.
I can see it.
There's my bold prediction.
Green Bay over Kansas City Monday night, 38-28, as you heard in our 60-second summary. Aaron Rodgers throws 5 touchdowns.
Green Bay looks more impressive than ever.
Yeah. A special Fantasy 14 ahead, as well as the Tom and Jerry Sports Show Overtime Debate of the Week, picks and predictions, locks, and upsets up next.
Tom and Jerry Sports Show featuring Kevin Donlin live every Tuesday on Zeno Radio and re-airs Wednesdays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern on All Noise Radio and the Live 365 app.
Follow us on Instagram at Tom and Jerry Sports Show and join the conversation on Twitter at TNJ Sports or visit our website at tnjsports.weebly.com or call in to 605-562-7085. Press 5 to be heard live. Follow the NFL this season on the Tom and Jerry Sports Show. Do you have sports opinions? Or do you want to start your own sports debate? Then Overtime is right for you. Overtime is an app for sports lovers made by sports lovers. This is the best place to talk about sports. Overtime is available at the iTunes App Store. Be a part of something big and help us take the game to OT. Overtime. The game never ends.
Alright, there she go. Hey, look at baby over there. What's up? Little mama come here. She started talking, but I really couldn't hear her until she started dancing like she do it in the mirror. Like she do it in the mirror. Like she do it in the mirror. She broke it down, started moving like she care. Like she do it in the mirror. I chop one, chop two, chop that ass down, chop that ass down.
The Tom and Jerry Sports Show picks and predictions for Week 4.
That's right. You heard it. The picks and predictions for Week 4.
We're going to bring up our first time doing this. We're going to do Madden picks as well. But first, we'll
start with Thursday night.
Yeah, we'll start with the Thursday night game, Ravens at the Steelers. This is going to have a little bit different feel to it because the Ravens are 0-3. And the Steelers are playing well, but lost Ben Roethlisberger.
I think despite the loss of Ben Roethlisberger in this game, I expect these teams to go back and forth. I expect a lot of scoring, but I do expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to eventually move on, be winners in this game, despite the fact the loss of Ben Roethlisberger. They have a lot of talent on offense, something that I don't think Baltimore is going to be able to stop, no matter what. Baltimore is having a hard time stopping everybody.
What did Madden predict?
Madden predicted that the Pittsburgh Steelers would win 19-13. Led by Michael Vick himself, lefty.
Michael Vick was 12 of 17 in this game, 191 yards and a touchdown. He had 7 rushes for 55 yards as well.
Without getting hurt, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Madden for you.
Joe Flacco, 12 of 21, 140 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Le'Veon Bell rushed 13 times for 37 yards and had 1 catch for 7 yards for a touchdown. Forsett rushed 12 times, 44 yards. Crockett Gilmore, the tight end for the Ravens, 5 catches, 65 yards and a touchdown. Antonio Brown, 4 catches for 60 yards. So that was the stats for that game for Madden.
Seems pretty accurate.
Right? I mean,
I don't expect Antonio Brown to be an overwhelming player, especially with Michael Vick coming into town. I mean, I think it's a much different, you got a week now.
Yeah.
Not even less than a week to build some sort of connection with Antonio Brown. Obviously, they're going to be trying their best to get that done all week.
Yeah.
But obviously, this is no doubt. I think the Steelers could win this game without a doubt. The Baltimore Ravens, obviously, just not showing any life. Joe Flacco's looking like one of the worst, quarterbacks in football. I mean, I knew this for years. I couldn't believe the contract they signed this guy to. And obviously, because you signed this guy to this contract, you're giving him no help. Okay, he's got a decent offensive line. His defensive line is no better. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens really, this contract signing is probably going to be putting them in the negative for the next couple of years.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to get on to the next game, the Jets and the Dolphins.
I'm going to be biased, baby. Let's go Jets in London and all.
What was your pick for? Obviously, you're picking the Steelers, right? I'm going with the Steelers as well.
Yep.
But yeah, Jets Dolphins, 9:30 a.m. Eastern in London.
I love it.
So yeah,
as long as it's not a home team, as long as it's not a home game for my team, I have no problem with that.
So, what did Madden pick?
Madden predicted that the Miami Dolphins would defeat the New York Jets 13-10.
Ryan Tannehill, 144 yards. Not 144 yards. He had 144 QB rating. 9 of 12, 184 yards, a touchdown and no interceptions. Fitzpatrick, 101.4 QB rating, 13 of 20, 137 yards, also a touchdown and no interceptions. Ivory had 10 carries, 32 yards, no touchdowns. Lamar Miller, 8 carries, 19 yards, no touchdowns. The big player of this game was Jordan Cameron. 5 catches, 135 yards, and a touchdown.
So basically, they expect neither team to be able to run the football.
Yes, basically. But I mean,
I think the Jets have a better chance of running the football better than the Miami Dolphins. Right now, Lamar Miller looks like garbage. I think against the defensive front of the New York Jets, it's going to be even more tough for this gentleman. I'll be honest. I don't see the Jets losing this game. I understand Madden. I don't Madden.
I don't see the Jets.
The Jets are.
Either.
Listen, they should have won this game against the Eagles. Okay, they had every right and every chance to get back into that game late. They obviously ruined every opportunity of that. But obviously, I think the Jets come back, rebound in London.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Next game, Bills and the Giants.
This is a tough one.
What is Madden pick?
Madden goes Bills 19, Giants with a 0.
I can see that, though.
The Giants getting shut out.
I don't know about shutout, but I can see the Giants losing.
Giants are going to have a hard time scoring.
The Giants are going to lose.
I think so too, only because of the fact that I think the Giants are going to have more of a hard time scoring on the Bills defense as opposed to the Bills scoring on the Giants defense.
Absolutely. Tyrod Taylor, 7 of 16, 189 yards, 127.3 QB rating, 2 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. Eli Manning, 11 of 20, 132 yards, 54.6 QB rating, with no touchdowns and 1 interception.
Hasn't thrown one yet, so Madden's predicting something pretty bold right there.
Yeah.
Eli Manning's done a great job not throwing any interceptions, not turning the ball over.
Which is very surprising.
It really is, but you know what? It's something that the Giants really needed.
Yeah.
They really needed him to step up his game and play very smart. And
they're still
chance.
1-2.
Yeah.
And he's not throwing an interception.
Exactly.
LaShawn McCoy, 11 carries, 64 yards. Rashad Jennings, 8 carries, 37 yards. Robert Woods, 2 catches, 51 yards, 1 touchdown. Odell Beckham, 3 catches, 37 yards, and the big dagger, 1 catch, 70 yards for a touchdown for Sammy Watkins.
Wow, so they're thinking one big play early on for them.
Yeah.
Honestly, the Bills, I think they're going to find ways to score consistently in this game. I think the Giants are going to have a very hard time. It's basically the only reason I'm going to go with the Bills. I'm leaning with the Bills on this one.
Cowboys Saints Sunday night. If it was later in the year, you definitely would have saw a flex here.
You would have seen a big fantasy performance.
Well, you definitely wouldn't have saw this game on Sunday night because Brandon Weeden going up against probably McCown.
Yeah,
that's not headliner.
Something you didn't expect early on in the season, but nonetheless, this is what we're going to be expecting this week. And honestly, I'm having a hard time here. I'm probably going to have to go with the Cowboys just because both teams. I don't think any team's going to have an intimidating defense, but the Saints' defense looked god-awful.
Yeah. What did Madden pick?
Madden picked that the Saints would win 14-7.
Brandon Weeden, 12 of 19, 130 yards, 78.8 QB rating, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. McCown, 10 of 18, 111 yards, 92.6 QB rating with 1 touchdown to 0 interceptions. Ingram, 12 carries, 50 yards. Joseph Randle, 11 carries, 36 yards. Bryce Butler, 3 catches for 39 yards and a touchdown.
Who?
Bryce Butler.
No.
The trade that the Cowboys made 2 weeks ago. Ben Watson, 2 catches, 21 yards and a touchdown. So I'm going to go up against Madden here too. I'm going to pick the Cowboys just because I'm being biased. At least
you admit it.
Yeah, I don't really care. You know what? I don't care.
And we go on to the rest of the picks and predictions for the next couple of games. No Madden included. We'll throw a little Madden results.
Well, we do have Madden results, but we don't have any stats or anything. That would just take too long. We don't have that much time on our hands.
Understandable, man.
We got things to do.
Yeah, man. It's our birthday, man.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Things to do. Do you think we could sit down on the couch all day and play Madden? I used to.
Of course. I mean, who didn't, right? But we go into our predictions. We go into the Jaguars taking on the Colts in Indianapolis. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going Jaguars here.
Jaguars?
They just don't have any pass rush. Their secondary is god-awful. I think Blake Bortles comes out there and beats the man that's going to be his rival for the next couple of years.
You definitely picked the same as Madden.
Yeah, Madden went.
Madden had, the Jaguars beating the Colts. I'm going to go up against both of you, the great Madden, and my co-host Kevin.
And go with the Colts,
and I'm going to go with the Colts. I mean, I think
Colts look like they're struggling, man. I mean, Tennessee put up a bunch of points on them. They are
struggling, but you know what? The Jaguars I'd like to see the Jaguars see what they come out after that 51-17 loss. But
I think they're going to be a little angry.
But yeah, next game.
We're going to the Panthers, going into Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. I think the Panthers moved to 4-0.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Panthers as well. Madden has them winning 27-10. I am going to agree with my co-host and Madden.
I think the Panthers did some add-ons to that defense. I think it's going to make a hard time for Jameis Winston, who's already had a hard time this whole season. Eagles visit Washington.
You know what? I'm going to go up against Madden here. Madden has the Eagles winning 26-7. I'm going to say the Redskins win this game. They come off a bad loss to the Giants, bad division loss. They need a division win here. I'm going to go with the Redskins.
I think the Jets had a very, very difficult time running the ball, to be honest, in this game, which was very surprising. I'm going to go with the Eagles. I don't think Washington gets the running game up and going yet, and I think the Eagles come out there and try to get back to 500.
Perfect. Raiders at the Bears.
Here we go. Raiders going to have a 3-1 record. I'm going them without a doubt. Their young core on offense looks great. I think the Bears are just god-awful both sides of the ball.
I think basically you got to go with the Bears. The Bears losing this game. I mean, they really don't look good at all.
Not at all. I think Oakland looks a lot, and I think Oakland looks good too. So it's like a double negative. And I think without a doubt the Raiders go on and leave Chicago with road winners.
Yeah, Madden picked them winning this game as well.
In overtime,
20-17 in overtime.
Wow.
And I
don't think it gets to overtime. I think Oakland's going to have this game in the bag. I think Chicago's going to have a very hard time stopping the Raiders.
Definitely.
Texans visit Atlanta.
I am going to go with Atlanta just because of how they're playing right now. They're home as well.
Yeah, without that, I think Ryan Mallett's god-awful. I think Brian Hoyer's not much better. I think that offense isn't good right now for the Houston Texans. I'm only going to go with Atlanta, and this coach that they have right now is really, really doing something special.
Well, you know what? He's coming from Seattle. But I think the main thing is, Julio Jones is really playing
unbelievable.
Probably the best out of anybody. Definitely an early MVP candidate.
Definitely unbelievable player right now. And Madden agrees with 100%. Atlanta walks into home and defeats the Houston Texans 19-13. Chiefs take on Cincinnati in Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati wins this game hands down. Chiefs look god awful on Monday night against the Green Bay Packers. Could not stop any of the receivers on that team. I think A.J. Green has no problem. I think Marvin Jones, same way. I think Andy Dalton has an easy job. I don't even think they run the ball that effectively, but still win.
Yeah. Next.
Browns go into San Diego. Beautiful San Diego, California. And I think the Browns walk in there and get smoked. I think the Chargers win this game. I think Philip Rivers is very angry about last week. I think they go back to 500, 2-2.
I think it depends on who their quarterback is. If we see Johnny Manziel, I think they give him a run for their money. I don't know if the Browns will have enough to beat the Chargers, but I'm going to go with the Browns. Yeah. But it also depends on if Johnny Manziel's quarterback. If Johnny Manziel's not the quarterback, then I'm going Chargers. Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit of a asterisk next to it, I guess.
Yeah, understandable. We move on, and the Green Bay Packers take on the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco. Let me tell you something, folks. You can play this game anywhere on the planet, and the Packers are going to crush this game, without a doubt. I think the 49ers just look god-awful. I think Kaepernick is playing such a simplified offense right now. They're obviously going to have to change something up through this week of practice. I don't know if this head coach is the right coach, right fit. Right now, he looks very, very bad right now. And the 49ers as a whole look really bad right now. And the Green Bay Packers look better than ever. I think Aaron Rodgers walks into San Fran and walks out with his head held high.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Packers definitely in this game. I mean, this game is not going to be even close. 49ers just, they're not going to have enough. Kaepernick looked terrible.
Yeah.
Last week. So, I'm definitely going Packers. Rams at the Cardinals.
There's another blowout. The Cardinals are going to win this game with ease. The Rams have looked awful.
They really have the last 2 weeks.
They really looked awful. I think it's really been disgraceful, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Arizona as well. I think Arizona is a close second behind the Patriots for
best team in
the league. We are going to take a call. Hey, what's going on? You're on the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
What's up, buddy? You're live.
Hey, guys, am I on the air?
Yeah, you're on.
You are.
Hey, what's up, guys? Listen, I need a wide receiver this week, and it's pretty thin. Best available, I'm probably looking at Ted Ginn. You got the Floyd guys from Arizona and San Diego, or Robert Woods up in Buffalo. What do you think would be the best pickup?
I think this week alone, I'd probably Robert Woods.
That's what I was thinking.
It's a little bit of a stretch right now. You're not looking at any good options, but I mean, the best matchup right now is going up against the New York Giants secondary that's given up arguably the most touchdowns so far.
Yeah. Yeah,
what do
I
you
would
think
go
about
with
Ted Ginn, though, being the number one over there? I don't even know who the number one is in Carolina.
It really isn't a clear cut. There's a lot of receivers over there. Obviously you got Percy Harvin, you got Sammy Watkins to go along with Robert Woods. So, I mean, it really is a stretch any way you go. But, me personally, I'd probably have to go Robert Woods, but I also kind of feel bad for you.
All right, thanks, guys.
No problem,
No
bud.
problem. Thanks for calling.
Moving on, we continue moving on to our, picks and predictions. We got the Vikings visiting the Broncos, and here's my upset, man. You got the Vikings defeating the Broncos in Denver.
Yeah.
And they got a big leg kicker, too. I think this is a game that really matches up really well for them.
I you know what? I think I got to go with Denver.
I understand. Denver, it's very hard to pick against Peyton Manning. It really is. I understand. But this is a game where I think Minnesota's going to come out strong.
Especially that people are, saying that he's washed up. And, the guy's still 3-0.
Yeah, you're right.
He's putting up the
It's going to be a tough game for both teams. But I'm just, it's going to be a close one. And I'm just going to lean towards Minnesota. You lean Denver. Understandable. We move on to Sunday night. Cowboys in New Orleans. The home game for the Saints.
We really already gave our picks for this game.
Cowboys all the way. I think both teams' defenses aren't looking great right now, but when push comes to shove, I think the Saints' defense just looks awful. They're giving up points to everybody. You got to expect a lot out of Luke McCown. Drew Brees plays this game. I'm going to go with the Saints. There's no doubt in my mind, but right now with both backup quarterbacks going in, you got to go with the Cowboys.
Yeah, definitely.
Monday night, the final game of the week.
Seahawks Lions.
In Seattle.
I got to go with the Seahawks.
Yeah, Seahawks Lions look god awful both sides of the football right now. It's a no doubter. Seahawks all the way.
The Tom and Jerry Sports Show presents the Lock of the Week for Week 4.
I'll be honest, on my lock of the week, I got to go with the Bills. I think the Bills really have that game in great control. I think they win that game.
You know what? I got to go with Arizona. I've been going with Arizona all week.
Yeah, it's in Buffalo.
All year, really.
It's in Arizona. Two home teams. I think the Bills, they're pretty angry.
Yeah.
Still, I think. So the Giants are going to have a hard time. Both teams are going to have a hard time. I think the Bills walk away. I agree 100% Arizona as well.
It's time for Jerry and Kevin's Upset of the Week for Week 4.
Upset of the week, I would have to go with, looking at it, I think my pick, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs come back.
Yeah, take on Cincinnati and beat them. Not a bad pick. Chiefs have looked up and down at times in this year. They've looked really good and they've looked really bad at the same time. I'm going to stick to my word. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings. I think the Vikings are going to upset the Denver Broncos in Denver, in the Mile High City itself. So,
all fantasy football up next. Special guest Erik Groset with a special Fantasy 14 right after the break on the Tom Jerry Sports Show.
Do you have sports opinions? Or do you want to start your own sports debate? Then Overtime is right for you. Overtime is an app for sports lovers made by sports lovers. This is the best place to talk about sports. Overtime is available at the iTunes App Store. Be a part of something big and help us take the game to OT. Overtime. The game never ends. Follow the NFL this season on the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
Tom and Jerry Sports Show featuring Kevin Donlin live every Tuesday on Zeno Radio and re-airs Wednesdays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern on All Noise Radio and the Live 365 app.
Follow us on Instagram at Tom and Jerry Sports Show and join the conversation on Twitter at TNJ Sports or visit our website at tnjsports.weebly.com or call in to 605-562-7085. Press 5 to be heard live.
All I need is one song, one line. All I need is one break to survive. chance, so come on. 5 more hours to come up with a song. All I need is
one mic, one pen, one piece of paper, one top single, and it's game over for the haters. One shot, one chance, one opportunity.
Hey, we are back.
The Tom and Jerry Sports Show, Fantasy 14.
We got a special guest today, fantasy expert and CEO of FantasySports.co, Erik Groset. How is it going? You're on the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
Hey guys, doing great. How you doing?
Good. We love talking about fantasy football. I actually got involved with FanDuel this past weekend, actually, and my co-host is a big fantasy football enthusiast, I guess you could say.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. But the new big thing, obviously, with fantasy sports is the daily fantasy sports. I know we've seen DraftKings and FanDuel ads everywhere, but not a lot of people know about this.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a new way to enjoy football, even more so than seasonal fantasy, because it's a new week every week. So if by week 6 you're bummed on your season-long fantasy team, being 0-6, maybe you want to check out Give Daily Fantasy a try. It lets you still root for your home team and appreciate the talent of the individual players. Something to try out. So how was your experience on FanDuel? I mean, it sounded like it was your first time, and just so you guys know, the past few players that have won $1 million in both sites, DraftKings and FanDuel, have been first-timers.
Really?
Wow.
We didn't know that. I thought I did pretty well. I joined I think it was like a $2 league, just to start up.
Right.
And, I kind of ranked a little high. I think I was in the top 20 or 30 or so in a 250-person league. So I thought I did pretty well, at least for my first time. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, congrats on that. I mean, daily fantasy is great because you can spend a couple bucks, watch your favorite players, enjoy the game, and you've got a chance at landing a couple $1 million if you enter the big contest. It seems like you started at a relatively beginner level, which is a great place to begin, kind of get your feet wet a little bit, understand the landscape a little bit. It's great to use tools like our app, LineStar, which helps you pick the optimal lineups for FanDuel and DraftKings. You can get it at the App Store or Google Play. It helps identify some value picks as well, which is an important thing that a lot of people overlook. I mean, if you're playing, a bunch of studs and no one's really hitting, you're not going to make any major moves in the millionaire contest. You got to think outside the box. Identify some. The Cam Newton-Olsen combo was a unique one that really worked out this weekend on daily, as well as seasonal.
Obviously, the two best running backs were fairly cheap as well. You didn't have to go after any of the top five. Yeah, and
Randall, right. And so that's the interesting thing is that you got to pick and choose where you put your money. Sometimes it might be worth it to spend the extra bucks on Rodgers, but it looks like you could have got away with Newton this week, and that's the guy who won DraftKings. His team was Newton, Freeman, Fitzgerald, Jones, Marshall, Olsen, Blunt, and Seahawks. So it seemed 301 points, and I think this is the first time someone broke 300 on DraftKings in the $1 million contest.
It was a big week actually for daily fantasy sports. I was able to notice a lot of a lot of names that were definitely reasonable prices put up a lot of big time points.
Yeah,
and both wide receiver and running back, and even a couple of tight ends as well.
Yeah, I mean it was a massive, interesting week for daily fantasy. So, the last week, the guy that won the FanDuel Millionaire contest, he's a 40-year-old truck driver, and he was, he was in the top 10, I think, going into Monday night, and he had to make a delivery in his truck, and he was having some sort of difficulty. He couldn't even listen to the game, so he didn't even know he won until his family started texting him and saying, "You won the millions."
Wow.
That's incredible.
And like I mentioned before, he's a first-time player, and he picked, and this is again last week, so he picked all Pittsburgh players or people that had experience at Pittsburgh University. So pretty cool little story there.
go ahead and Pittsburgh had a big week actually. Yeah, that was a very good strategy. I mean, speaking of strategies, what would you consider would be some of the good strategies to win playing on DraftKings or FanDuel?
Yeah, there's a couple different formats, right? So there's 50-50 where you just have to finish in the top 50% to double your money up. And if you're going to play that way, then it's better to rely on a lot of the core rock players. And if you're going to play in the big tournaments, which is, the $1 million ones or the couple $100,000 ones, if you're going to start out smaller, you want to go for the unconventional plays and specifically worked out really well, as you mentioned, for cheap running backs this past week. Mm-hmm. You definitely want to link up some quarterback wide receiver combos or again last week quarterback tight end combos to increase your point count, get double up on those points.
Absolutely.
So you like the the same team quarterback and wide receiver combos when you're picking a team?
Definitely, and it's great to rely on some people that are really have a good cohesive unit together. Brady and Edelman's an easy combo, although they didn't do anything. Well, they did a little bit, but they weren't their usual combo this past week. But
they weren't freakish the rest of the league.
Exactly. Yeah, and then of course the other strategies to identify value picks, which again is what our app Line Star really helps out with. And trying to find those people that might get overlooked elsewhere. And we make it kind of dead simple for you. We really rely on little simple quick glance icons so anyone can understand immediately when they open the app. Trying to make it simple as possible for the common person to be successful on DraftKings and FanDuel.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be honest with you. I actually used your app to help me pick my lineup.
Oh, great! Well, it sounds like you were pretty successful on your beginner contest. Yeah. So it's our app gives you some ideas, and then of course you're relying on your own knowledge to make the final picks as well.
Well, for the people that haven't played yet, how hard is it to play? And basically, can anybody do it?
Yeah, it's dead simple to play. If you're familiar with seasonal fantasy, you'll really understand daily fantasy almost instantly. I know for a lot of people it's like kind of associated. They think it's related to gambling, but it's so much more than that because, you get to appreciate the individual players. You get to root them on. You're only putting a couple bucks towards it. You can deposit using PayPal, which is something you can never do with those gambling sites, which makes it real easy for people to get involved in this. And you can also cash out through PayPal after you win a couple $1,000. And, you might just get lucky your first time. My mom's neighbor, my mom's neighbor, a 25-year-old gal, first time playing on daily fantasy on FanDuel. She won $15,000 in week 3.
Wow. Impressive. Wow.
We got a few questions for you. Who's your top fantasy picks for this week?
Sure. Let me go over some seasonal fantasy because I kind of got jealous when you guys were talking about that earlier and you had to call in. So let's talk about some waiver pickups. First of all, we got some buys on week 4, so that's important to make everyone aware of. The Patriots and Titans. So it's make sure that you've got some replacements for them. So I like Carlos Williams for a running back. He's going to be the number one when LaShawn McCoy doesn't play, and according to the NFL Network, McCoy's probably not going to play.
Yep.
McCoy's kind of injury prone in general, so Williams is a good stash on the bench to get you through those sort of occasions.
That's really all you need him for is 1 week right now. If anything, obviously getting him for a couple extra weeks would be just a bonus at that point, and it's unpredictable right now. But definitely a good bye week fill-in right now. Good play, Carlos Williams.
Exactly. And I heard you guys talking about Michael Vick and Madden's prediction for him, but I really like him this week. He's a short-term fill-in for anyone who has Brady or Mariota this weekend. He's facing Baltimore D.
Tony Romo, right?
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. Yep. Or Breeze or Romo, but Baltimore D's given up 3 touchdowns and over 350 yards to both Dalton and Carr over the last 2 weeks. So Vic might be his time to shine again. Otherwise, Tyrod Taylor would be a great pickup as well.
100%.
You go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, for tight end, Gates is coming back, so it's important for people to keep their eye on him and pick him up if he hasn't been yet in your league. And then that one caller that was asking about Ted Ginn Jr. I really like Ted Ginn over Woods specifically. He had the highest targeted receiver, other than Greg Olsen. But for each of the 3 weeks, and then he had that touchdown that was called back in week 1, which would have been even more points for him. So,
absolutely,
I'm a Ted Ginn fan this week.
Yeah.
Understandable, 100%. We also we wanted to ask you if going back to daily fantasy, if you had a sleeper this week, guys that maybe aren't going for such an overwhelming price that you can maybe stash in for this week alone, maybe a good matchup of some sort, maybe at the lower end. Do you have any sleepers this week?
Yeah, Charles Clay would be great. He's a pretty cheap tight end. Derek Carr would be probably a good cheap quarterback, facing Chicago. That's going to be easy pickings for him. Michael Vick might be a good one too. He's as cheap as it comes in quarterbacks. We've talked about him for seasonal, but he looks pretty good for daily this week too.
Absolutely. And is there anybody out there that we might want to stay away from?
Yeah, that's a good question. You got to question if Julio Jones can keep up the madness that he's been on. Exactly.
100%.
Super tough matchup this week. Is this a week where Julio being as expensive as he is, maybe you want to go elsewhere with that?
Absolutely.
So just some things to think about. You can always build your core around a couple of studs, but you want to make sure their matchup is favorable. That's kind of the key part to daily fantasy.
That's what you want to do is waste any money, right?
Exactly.
It was a real pleasure to have you on the show. I think a lot of people that are listening will probably end up playing one-day fantasy this weekend, and your insight was pretty good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. And you can check us out at fantasysportsco.com or our Line Star apps on both Apple and Google, and it's all free. So check it out.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
He had a lot of good insight for the daily fantasy, and even for standard leagues. Obviously, our caller, maybe go with Tenga Jr. this week if you can get him. I just like Robert Woods because of the matchup. Obviously, there's not a lot of options over there. Ted Ginn might be the best chance.
The only thing is Ted Ginn is probably going to be the number one over there. So,
I guess that guy Devin Funchess just fell off.
I don't know.
He was
he had a good week one.
Yeah, you know what it was? He was very hyped up. There's a lot of players that usually that happens to.
Absolutely.
A lot of guys unproven. You don't know really too much about it. And, they try to hype a guy up, and obviously they didn't meet the fantasy standards of some of their owners. Yeah, and remember to join the conversation on Twitter at TNJ Sports or at our website, tnjsports.weebly.com. And the Tom and Jerry Sports Show now has its very own app. If you have an Android phone, be sure to download that through the Google Play Store. We got another Tom and Jerry Sports Show 60-second summary. This NFL season has been the season of injured quarterbacks as Jay Cutler, Tony Romo, and Drew Brees are on the shelf. We had another big-name quarterback to that. Ben Roethlisberger was hit low in the third quarter by Rams safety Mark Barron. Diagnosis of the injury is MCL sprain. He'll be out 4 to 6 weeks. Mike Vick will step in for him for the time being. Monday Night Football, Chiefs at Packers. Packers win 38-28 behind stellar play by Aaron Rodgers as he passes for 5 touchdowns. Mets clinched the NL East in their first postseason berth since 2006. On Saturday, Yankees had a chance to clinch a playoff berth last night, but came up short to Boston 5-1. Nationals dugout turned into a scene you would see in the UFC octagon on Sunday. After Bryce Harper didn't run out the pop-up, Jonathan Papelbon had a few words that turned into a big scuffle. Nationals suspended Papelbon for 4 games. Papelbon said he was wrong, and
Bryce Harper said, that he didn't really care. And I'm Jerry Napoleonello with your Tom and Jerry Sports Show 60-second summary, and that will do it for our show. I hope Erik helped you guys out with your fantasy, and go check out FanDuel or DraftKings.
And be sure to download the new sports app Overtime at the iTunes App Store.
Absolutely. And actually, before we go, we got a overtime debate of the week. We forgot our overtime debate of the week. We're going to say who's the best quarterback in the league, Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers?
There you go. Good luck with that one.
Absolutely. But that will do it for the show. I'm Jerry.
I'm Kevin.
Be breezy.
Thanks for listening to another episode of The Tom and Jerry Show.